It was well understood that the disarmed black population would be at the mercy of the domestic terrorist organizations such as the Ku Klux Klan, the Knights of the White Camilla, and on, which were attempting to terrorize the blacks into staying in a permanent condition of servility.
And racist gun control wasn't limited to the blacks.
There was a major influx of Chinese and Hispanic immigrants to California at the time. And literally in the 20s, the San Francisco Chronicle reported that the reason that concealed carry licensing was brought into California was to quiet the Tong community or take the passion out of the Hispanic community. So it's very clear that gun control, and specifically carry licensing, was animated by a racial bias.
I should say there are those in the gun control community that are upset that I would talk about racism and gun control laws, but we wouldn't talk about the history of voting laws if we didn't talk about the history of racially discriminatory voting laws. I don't believe that every gun control law today is racially discriminatory, far from it. But we should always be careful when passing laws where there is a history of racism to make sure we're not repeating the mistakes of the past.
There was a famous case out of Florida where the court dealt with this, and one of the judges was fair enough to stand up and say in a written opinion that this was never meant to be applied to the white population. Because of course, if the sheriff is allowed, or if the police chief is allowed to say that somebody doesn't have moral character to have a gun, there's no way to test that. There's no objective qualification there. And oftentimes, historically, what that meant was that the sheriff took a look at you, and if you looked a little too dark or didn't fit their view of what a gun owner should look like, then they figured you didn't really have good cause to have that handgun.